Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to run PostgreSQL locally on your machine inside a Docker container. So first of all, you need to make sure that you have installed Docker Desktop on your machine. To do that, go to docker.com, scroll down, you'll see this button, download Docker Desktop, hover over it and select from the options. And I have already installed Docker on my machine. You can click on this download button, and after the download and installation is finished, go to your terminal and type docker --version and press enter. And if you see something like this, Docker version 29 point something, that means you have successfully installed Docker on your machine. Now what we will do here is we need to create a Docker container, and inside we need to run PostgreSQL. To do that, I'm going to write this command docker run in detached mode. That means we need to run a Docker container in the background. And if I don't mention this flags -t, it'll run the Docker container and it'll show the logs of that Docker container here in the terminal. We don't want that currently. So we'll write docker run -t and we'll name the container using the name flag, and you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it new PostgreSDB. And after the name, I'm going to set an environment variable. You can set 3 environment variables here. That is Postgres user, Postgres password, and PostgreSDB. Only one of the 3 is mandatory. That is Postgres password. If you don't specify the Postgres password, this command is going to throw an error. So we're going to mention at least one, that is the Postgres underscore password. Make sure to write it exactly like this. Postgres password equal to, you can give it any password you want. I'm going to set the password as my passcode. And similarly, you can write another environment variables like Postgres user and set the user name to whatever you like. But by default, Postgres will set the Postgres user environment variable and PostgreSDB environment variable both equal to Postgres. So I'm not going to mention those environment variables here. I'm going to go with the defaults. So after the environment variable, I'm going to create the port mapping, that is port 5432 of this machine. I'm on Mac, that means of this Mac. And if you are on Windows, that means port 5432 of the machine will map to port 5432 of the Docker container. Postgres by default runs on port 5432. Whenever you run Postgres, it'll take the port 5432 of the container and listen to that port. If any request comes on port 5432 of your machine, it will redirect that request to the port 5432 of the Postgres container. So that's why we mentioned this mapping here. And after the port mapping, I'm going to name the image that is the actual Postgres software that people at Postgres have created and put it on Docker Hub for everyone to use. So I'm going to mention the name of that image, Postgres of version 17. So how do we get this? You can go to dockerhub.com, search for Postgres, and you will get various images like this. So for this video, I'm going to use Postgres version 17 here. And after this, I'm going to hit enter. Now, as you can see, it has created a container with this ID on a machine. Now to confirm this, I'm going to type docker ps. You'll see all the containers that are currently running on my machine. And if I zoom out, and this is a table-like structure here, you'll see this new PostgreSDB container also running. And after the installation of Docker, you'll get this icon here. If you click on it, go to dashboard. For you, this is going to be empty. But for me, I have all these containers running here. As you can see, these are all the containers. You have the images, you have the volumes. And inside the containers, if we look for it, you can see this new PostgreSDB container running here. It has an image of Postgres 17 with a container ID of this port mapping. Now you can see your container is up and running. Now I've closed all the other containers. Let me clear this. Zoom in a bit. If I run docker ps again, you'll see our new PostgreSDB container is running. In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect to this Postgres database that is running inside a Docker container using 3 ways. First is a CLI tool that is called psql. So we want to run psql commands inside the container. Now we cannot directly run commands from the terminal like this. So to run the commands inside the Docker container, we need to type docker exec -it first. -it. That means I want to execute some commands inside a Docker container in an interactive way. And we need to mention the name of the container. The name of our container here is new PostgreSDB. So I'll type new PostgreSDB. That is our container name. Now we are inside our container. Inside the container, we want to run PSQL commands. PSQL is a CLI tool that is using to access Postgres databases. So I'm going to type PSQL with a user flag. That means we need to specify the user. If you have set an environment variable while running the docker run command, if you have set the environment variable Postgres user to something, then you need to mention that name here. But we didn't specify the environment variable there. By default, Postgres sets the Postgres user equal to Postgres. So I'm simply going to type Postgres and hit enter. As you can see, we successfully got inside our container. Now we can run PSQL commands here. So first of all, I'm going to run \l to list all the databases inside the container. Hit enter. You can see we have these databases here. By default, Postgres creates a database with the name of Postgres, with a username of Postgres. If you specify the database name and the username using the environment variables while running the docker run command, then you will see those names here. But we didn't specify the environment variables, so Postgres chose the default ones and put it here. So Postgres creates this database for us. Now we can create multiple databases inside this. To do that, I'm going to run the command create database. Give your database some name. I'm going to name it ecom semicolon and hit enter. As you can see, it has created a database. Now if I type \l, you'll see this ecom database here as well. So to connect to this ecom database, as you can see, we are currently connected with this Postgres database. That is the name of the database here is Postgres. Now to connect with ecom, I can type \c and the database name, hit enter. You can see it says you are now connected to database ecom as user Postgres. Now inside the ecom database, we can create tables. First of all, let's see if there are any tables or relations inside our database. To do that, we'll type \tt. It says did not find any relations. That means we currently have 0 tables inside the ecom database. Let's create a table by typing create table name. I'm going to give it a name of example. It's going to have a column named data with a type of char. Semicolon, hit enter. It has created a table. Now if I type \dt, now it gives me the list of tables here. That is the example table. That means we have one table inside our database. We can write select star. That means select everything from table name example, semicolon, hit enter. You can see it says 0 rows. That means we have an example table inside our database. Inside the example table, we have one column that is the data. And inside the data column, we have 0 rows. That means we have no data inside our table exam. So that's how you connect with a Postgres database that is running inside a Docker container using a CLI tool, PSQL. Now I'm going to show you how to connect to the same database using PGAdmin. So go to PGAdmin. This is a GUI tool to connect with the databases. Create a server here by right-clicking on this servers button. Register a server here. You can name it anything. I'm going to name it PostgreSDB. Click on the connection tab. The host is going to be local host, port 5432. Database name is Postgres. Username is Postgres. Password, my passcode that we set earlier. Save password, save. Click on the server database. As you can see, we have 2 databases here. The default one that was created when we ran the command docker run, and the second that we created using the CLI tool. So I'm going to click on the ecom one. Click on schemas, public tables. You can see we have this example table here with one column of name data, which is of type character. So that's how you connect to the database using PGAdmin. And lastly, you can create connection strings like this inside your env files, and you can connect with the database using these connection strings. So to construct a connection string, you need to write this PostgreSQL : // Here you need to specify the username of the database. That is by default Postgres : your password. That was my passcode. Specify the host, that is localhost, and the port, that is 5432, and the database name, that is Postgres. And in case of ecom that we created recently, you can type ecom. You can paste it inside your env files and connect with the database. Now go back to your terminal. Let me clear this first. To exit, you can type \q and clear it. Now if I run docker ps, you can see we have this container running, that is this new PostgreSDB container. Now I'll stop this container. Docker stop, name of the container. As you can see, it has stopped the container. Confirm, Docker ps, you see no container is running. To remove the container, you can write docker rm, name of the container. Run docker ps again, no container is running. Now if you go to PGAdmin, click on this server that we created earlier, PostgreSDB, refresh and go inside, you see as soon as we removed the container, we lost all the data. And if we run the command that we ran earlier, docker run this, we created the container again. If we refresh this, now you can see only Postgres database here. You don't see the ecom one that we created. That means we lost all of our data when we removed the container. So the question is, how do we persist the data even after removing the container or deleting the container from our machine? So to do that, we need to create volume. I'm going to run docker ps. You can see this container is running. I'm going to stop it, docker stop, and I'm going to remove it, docker remove, docker ps. You can see we have successfully removed the container. Now, while creating the Docker container, we need to specify a volume by using the flag -v, and we need to give the volume a name. I'm going to give it a name of Postgres data, and we are going to map it with a location that is present inside the container. What this does is every data inside your container is stored inside a location that is a folder or directory. As soon as you delete the container, that location gets deleted as well. So your data is lost immediately. To fix this issue, what we do is we create this Postgres data folder inside our machine, and we map it with the location where the data of the container is stored. So as soon as we store anything inside the database, that data is actually stored inside this Postgres data that is located on our machine. So when we remove the container, only the container is removed, the data remains on the machine. And if we run the container again with the same volume name, we will get our data back. So we will create a volume using the command docker volume create, give it a name, Postgres underscore data, hit enter. As you can see, it has created a volume. To see the volume, we can type docker volume ls, volume, not volumes. You can see the list of volumes here, and you can see this Postgres data volume here as well. So let me clear this. Now, when we run the docker command, while creating the docker container using the docker run command, what we'll do is we'll specify the volume as well. Here, after the port mapping, I'm going to type -v Postgres data, the name of the volume that we just created, map it with a location /var /lib /postgres ql/data, and hit enter. You can see it has created a container with this ID, and we have connected this Postgres data volume that's on a machine with this location on the Docker container. So let's create some tables using PSQL. So I'm going to run docker exec -id container name, that is Postgres, new Postgres db PSQL dash user is going to be Postgres. Hit enter. Now if I type \dt, you can see did not find any relation. So let's create a database first. Let's create a table simply. Create table example new underscore new, and inside we'll have name, which is going to be of type jar, semicolon, hit enter. We have successfully created the table. Now type \dt to confirm. Yes, we have the example new table here. Select everything from example new, hit enter. You can see no rows. Now if we go to PGAdmin, refresh, you'll see databases. We only have one Postgres. Inside we have schemas, public, tables. You can see we have this example new table with a column name of type character. So now if I exit from this, remove the container. First, I need to stop the container, docker stop new PostgreSDB. It has stopped the container, docker remove new PostgreSDB, docker ps. You can see we have no containers running. If I say, let me clear this first. Now if I run docker ps -a, you'll see all the docker containers and we have successfully removed container. Now go to PGAdmin, click on refresh. You'll see we don't have any databases here. And if I create the container again with the same volume, using the command docker run -d name Postgres, new Postgres DB with an environment variable, port mapping, and volume that we created earlier, and hit enter, you can see it has started the container. Now if we go to PGAdmin again, refresh again, you can see the databases here, Postgres, schemas, public. You can see we have the table that we created earlier inside the Postgres database. So that's how you persist data using volumes inside Docker containers. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you understood. Thank you for watching.